On Get Up, our next game is called Would You Believe with the big man Damian Woody. Here we go, D. Wood. If I said Jaden Daniels is going to be a better pro than Caleb Williams, would you believe that?
I would. Listen, all these guys, both of what we're comparing both of these guys, they're both athletic. They both make plays off schedule and all that. But I think Jaden Daniels does the ordinary things better than Caleb Williams. You know, that's why I think he's a better prospect. I think right now, if you ask him to go out there, read defense, be accurate, beat man-to-man coverage and pressure, Jaden Daniels is a better prospect.
I've heard that from so many people up here. It's going to be interesting to see where it goes. All right, my next one takes us to Buffalo, and let me just set this up for you. It's been a very difficult week for the Bills. They've released 3 big-time starters, including Mitch Morse, who started 77 games for them at center, Jordan Poyer, who was an all-pro safety last year, Trey White, who was also an all-pro in 2019. So we're talking about 3 of their better and better known players. So after all those key losses, would you believe, D. Wood, that Josh Allen's championship window has closed?
I would not believe that, because if you have Josh Allen, your window will stay open. Josh, we're talking about one of the 3 best quarterbacks that we have in our league right now in Josh Allen. This is going to be a situation where the Buffalo Bills, the iteration of the Bills that we've seen over the past 3 or 4 years, that's closed. But as long as Josh Allen's on the team, they'll always have a championship window.
Maybe they start remaking it around him. Finally, let's go to the NFC East. If I said Saquon Barkley is the missing piece for the Cowboys, would you believe that?
I would not believe that. And I love Saquon Barkley. I think he would add another dimension to the Dallas Cowboys. But I go back once again. The reason the Dallas Cowboys lost against the Green Bay Packers is because their stars didn't play like stars in the biggest moments. Until they resolve that, until those guys get that right, the Dallas Cowboys will be stuck in this situation that we talk about every season with them.
Well, maybe Saquon Barkley would be the star who played that way in big moments if he were there. Actually has a different player in mind. He was here with us this week and made his case for this Cowboys signing another big name running back.
I think they need a hammer. They need a Derrick Henry type to go along with a guy who on third down can catch balls out of the backfield. And I don't think they need to go ahead and extend themselves to get a Saquon Barkley. They need an attitude back. That's what they need on offense. Derrick Henry, he brings an attitude and makes you change yours or check yours, which is, do I really want this? Do I really want to deal with this in the fourth quarter?
So our Harry Douglas, who's with us today, was watching and tweeted, yes, Louis Riddick. The Cowboys need Derrick Henry at the running back position, a physical bruiser that would force Mike McCarthy to be balanced on offense and complement Dak. He brings a different mindset. And I should point out that Harry played with... someone has to give me a heads up that's going to happen.
No, I think this was good. I think it was good.
Okay, so you are a King Henry fan, obviously, Harry, and you were telling us this morning that you played with him. What from the inside? Like, what is it like? What is Derrick Henry actually like?
Man, I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, he is a different human being. You talk about work ethic. You talk about all about his business, the physicality, the mental capacity, and just the durability for him. When you look at the last 5 years, Greeny, when it comes to Derrick Henry, for the last 5, actually, he was first or second in the National Football League in rushing. The 1 year he wasn't in 2021 is because he missed 8 games. So he only played 8 games and still was 9th in the National Football League with 933 yards and 10 touchdowns. But the reason why I love this move for the Dallas Cowboys is because he brings that physical presence. You talk about being able to dictate what you want a defense to be able to do. Well, if you have King Henry in the backfield, you better stack your box, because if you don't, you're going to have problems. And even when you do stack your box, he's still going to be phenomenal rushing the football. He's the only running back that I can say in this free agent class right now that literally put an offense on his back and led them to an AFC championship game. You look back when they played the New England Patriots, when they still had Captain America, Tom Brady. King Henry rushed for over 180 in that ball game. Then they went to the number 1 seeded Baltimore Ravens. He rushed for 195. So I don't think he's done playing. I still think he's a phenomenal athlete. You look at his workout videos, this will force Mike McCarthy to call the run and allow Dak in this offense to be balanced and complement one another.
Listen, if you stack the box against Derrick Henry, he's either going to lift it or jump on top of it. His workout videos are the most entertaining thing to watch on Instagram by far. What do we think? So I've been, sort of beating the drum for Saquon to Dallas. Derrick Henry to Dallas is becoming kind of popular. What are we hearing about these running backs?
This is the time of year where everybody talks about the Cowboys and who they're going to sign, and I have to sit here and tell you they're not going to sign anybody. They don't hit free agency hard in Dallas. They're already over the cap. They got their own guys to take care of. Derrick Henry would make a lot of sense. If you talk to people in Dallas, what they would tell you was wrong with their run game last year is their offensive line couldn't block it. They couldn't block for the run. They protected Dak fine, but they did not get good run blocking. So they really feel like they have to address that. And at the back, look, if Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley or Josh Jacobs falls into a price range that the Cowboys think is okay for a running back, absolutely. But they're not going to go out and sign one of these guys next Monday or Tuesday at prime prices. That's not what they do.
Harry, I'll be right there. But D. Wood, I mean, with all due respect to all of you offensive linemen, does Derrick Henry even need blocking? I mean, isn't he his own blocking? I've seen him just throwing people away.
He is
at them.
Well, he is a cyborg.
Yeah.
He's like I need to cut him open and see if he's like machine underneath or something like that. But listen, yes, he does need blocking. He is pretty. He's an amazing running back. I do think that Derrick Henry makes a lot of sense. I think you pair him up with another running back, have a committee back there.
Him and Tony Pollard, thunder and lightning.
That makes a lot of sense. But yes, they do need to fix their, kind of revamp their offensive line a little bit. But Derrick Henry makes a lot of sense.
Final word, Harry, go.
Yeah, when you looked at the Tennessee Titans last year, I think one of their deficiencies was their offensive line. And Derrick Henry was still able to be second in the National Football League in rushing. So, it doesn't have to be the most ideal situation for him to have production and to rush the football effectively.
Is he
There we go. What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. We talk a lot here about the Cowboys, and I always, you guys have seen me literally fall out, and get upset and, throw tantrums and things like that and be pissed off. You've seen all of us Cowboy fans lose it, and you've seen ones breaking TVs, which I think are freaking idiots and stuff. And we act like this is life and death, I have been fortunate enough to see the Cowboys win 5 Super Bowls in my lifetime and things. And I hope that I am able to see one more before I go. And I hope that my father is able to see one more before he goes. And he's 85 years old. And I want to give a shout out to Gina Dallas Diva. She's got a heavy heart right now because her father is a huge Dallas Cowboy fan and he passed away. And I know she's hurting and she could definitely use your thoughts and prayers and everything else because, we make football out to be life and death. And the reality is it's just a game. It's just a sport. We've been blessed. We've been blessed by, an embarrassment of riches in the Cowboys' history. And it's hard right now, when we see other teams that are out there doing stuff that used to be the doormats and things. But, remember what's really important in life, and that is the loved ones around you. I am truly blessed to have great people around me in life and around me in my YouTube life, and that is you guys. And with the way the channel is growing, it's an abundance of people. And so thank you all. And so, again, look out for Gina because it's hard to lose a loved one, and we've all lost too many people too soon. So back to the Dallas Cowboys and the way it's our live and die situation, it seems like, or at least that's the way we take it. Maybe I spend too much time on this, and it's kind of crazy how some people get to be, with so much hate and animosity. I feel like everybody should be free to believe what they want to believe. If I, think the sky is blue and you think it's gray, well, that's up to you. That's okay. It's not hurting me believing what I believe. And, if I believe that Dak Prescott is not the problem, it shouldn't be brought up as a hate thing. But good Lord, some of y'all out here, man, it gets to be kind of cray-cray. It's not that serious. It's a sport. And we all have our own ideas of what works and shouldn't work. Let me say shout out to all the lovely ladies. Lady Libra in the house. Alan, in the chat. Please give her your love and emojis in the comments. Shout out to Alan Williams. Lola, Miss Hot Sauce is in the house. Let's see if I can find it. Boom, there it is. I'm burning for you. Burning for Lola. I see we got Stacy Schubert in the house. What's up? And how are you doing? Jeff Mike Aldana. Eric Willis is in the house. Kevin Lansford's. Thomas Garrett. What's up? What's up? What's up? Let's see. Stacy Schubert, Roland's Review. And of course, Gina, Dallas Diva. Shout out to James Snyder's in the house. What's going on? Derek Young, Marcus Blackman, Drock from Jersey. What's up? Okay. I think I got everybody there. Cole's Cowboy. What's up, Cole's? So here's what we got. And this is where, Jerry Jones likes to stir shit up, It was nice this morning to hear that they had restructured Zach Martin's deal. Now, Zach Martin, I don't know. For all we know, they're done, for all we know, because it could be that we're not, rushing, because, the Cowboys always take their time doing everything. They are always the last ones to make a damn move, and it pisses me off, okay? It really pisses me off, and I think that's half the reason why the Cowboys end up having such bad contracts is because they wait till the last minute to do stuff. And they're under pressure, and you can't really, cross your T's and dot your I's and everything else and to make sure you got shit right. And I think because it's hurried, they screw the pooch. We know the Cowboys screwed the pooch. Now, at least we have $1.8 million at least of cap space. They could get more if they want to, but, the Cowboys typically the first week of free agency basically go on vacation. Literally. 1 year they were in North Carolina on vacation. Everybody but Will McClay. Everybody but Will McClay. And what's disheartening for us Cowboy fans is over the last 3 years, the Cowboys are 29th in spending money. 29th. I want you to think about that for a second. As teams like the Eagles, and the 49ers, and the Tampa Bays, the Rams, they go out there and they bring in extra talent and things. We rely solely on basically the draft. Just on the draft. That's all we do. Now, we've gotten pretty good at doing the draft, but it's not enough. So many people go crazy and say it's just a quarterback. But we need to get back to the roots of what have always made the Dallas Cowboys great. And that is, when you look at Troy Aikman, when you look at Roger Staubach, I know people say Dak Prescott can't hold their jockstrap and stuff. Well, I hope he's not holding their jockstrap because that's kind of nasty. Look at how those teams were built. Look at where there were flaws on those teams. And I ask you, when you think about two generational type of defenses, between the doomsday defense of the Dallas Cowboys, okay, versus, say, the Hot Boys. Is there any comparison whatsoever? Any comparison? Georgia gentleman, Dallas Cowboy for life. What is your professional? Like mine? I am a mostly. Well, here's what I will say, Georgia. Okay, Georgia gentleman. Let me get to this. I am a jack of all trades and a master of none, but that's better than a master of just one. I am a former general contractor. I used to build a lot of houses and things like that. And I have several rental properties, some of which I built from the ground up, some of which I rebuilt, like I have the red brick house. Let's see. Laura Cook. What's up, Laura? What's up? Guess what? What am I guessing, Laura? So I do that. I do the red brick house. I do some contracting work from time to time. I was just up in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, home of Micah Parsons and his family. So that's kind of my profession. And I guess I am a content creator now. Well, my high school volleyball team is undefeated. Shout out to you, Laura. Laura, are you a coach, a teacher, a player? I just asking for a friend. Vinny Hogan, entrepreneur. That you could definitely say that. Definitely say that. But I'm actually close. I'm 58 years old. I'm actually close to retiring. We are going to the semifinals. Shout out to Laura Cook. My wife loves some volleyball. Although we don't have the needs to do it anymore. Just don't. Oh, your manager. Shout out to you, Laura. Congratulations. I hope you win it all. All right, so when we look at this situation with the Cowboys, great defense, doomsday defense. They didn't call them doomsday because every time they came on the field, we were doomed. They were called doomsday because they were dooming the other team, the opposition. We didn't really have a different name for the 90s defense other than studs and the Doomsday 2 defense. And when you listen to them talking about, well, maybe they should bring in Derrick Henry, because he's a bruising back, and then they say, well, the Cowboys' philosophy is the reason why, they had problems with the running game was the offensive line. Back in the day with the Cowboys, it wasn't an either or. You follow what I'm saying? They had the Great Wall of Dallas. If you don't think that Kevin Gogan, Eric Williams, Stignowski, Nate Newton, Mark Tuinei, Hall of Famer, oh my God, who am I forgetting? Jeez. His son was on the team for a minute. But you understand we had a great offensive line that literally Emmitt Smith usually didn't get touched for 3 or 4 yards down the field. Oh, and you had Emmitt Smith or Tony Dorsett. You had great running backs, great offensive line, and a great quarterback. We got to get back to those things, guys. We got to get back to, do we worry about the offensive line or do we worry about both? You got to worry about both. Defense, okay? All right, we got Micah Parsons. But, we used to have, like, Harvey Martin and had Too Tall Jones and Randy White and, like, Hollywood Henderson and, you see what I'm saying? Like Charlie Waters and things. You had great players throughout the defense. You didn't just have a Diggs and, a Diggs and a Stephon Gallimore and Micah Parsons and, a D-Law who was, is a good run stopper. You were loaded all the way around. You had lots and lots of talent. And when the Cowboys in the 90s, Mark, where's Game Time Brian? Laura Cook, He's probably at his house kind of recovering because, he is the mailman. I talked to him earlier today, about an hour ago. Cliff Harris, Hall of Famer. You had a lot of talent. And if you truly check yourself and look right now, we have problems throughout. I don't know that Troy Aikman on this team right now or Roger Staubach on this team right now are winning Super Bowls. I'm sorry, I just don't see that. And that's where it behooves the Cowboys to go ahead and say, let's do some stuff. Now, I don't know what the Cowboys' plan is. Okay, great. We're under the salary cap. There are a lot of really good players, quality players that have tread left on their tires. But I don't know that the Cowboys are going to be interested in any of them. And this is where Catboy is always, we believe in our guys, or, we focus in on the draft and so on, and we'll just get a few filler pieces that are dirt cheap. If we don't try to elevate the players that we have with better talent, we don't replace those guys. Larry Allen, thank you, Allen. Jeez. Maybe I need to get some of that Prevagen. Is that what it is for memory loss? I am getting up there. 60's just around the corner. It really is. Larry Allen, if we don't elevate the talent, first of all, and elevate the attitude, we're not going to be there. We're just not. And none of us have any control or say over that. The only ones are Jerry and Stephen Jones. And I'm not sure that what they're doing is going to be the thing. Now, back to the running back situation. Love to have a Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, if you said I could only have one, Derrick Henry or Saquon, I'm taking Derrick Henry. I think Derrick Henry would cost you less money, and I think Derrick Henry would be able to do more things between the tackles. If you were saying I could have my choice, and knowing that Tony Pollard would like to come back, I'd bring back Jeff Lee. Shout out to you, Jeff. Tracy is downstairs. I'm upstairs right now. Great news is we got all of our tax paperwork done, and so now we can actually start playing with our sublimation printer. I need to actually talk to Queen Bella because she's got the exact same one and get some tips from her, because we're going to be doing some really incredible shirts and stuff and all that. And I need to start out with the Cowboys literally make me drink and fall the F out. I think that's the winner right there. They definitely make me do that. Anyway, I would actually love to see Tony Pollard back in the same situation that he had with Zeke Elliott, where he is the third down specialist. He is the change of pace guy. Because in today's football, my problem right now, or the problem of running backs is, and when you look at most great running backs that you've seen where it's been one guy, is typically by the end of the season, they're not the same guy come the playoffs. Even a guy like Adrian Peterson, you've taken so many shots and so many runs and things, your body is just not going there the way it used to. And you could always see that in the last few years of Zeke Elliott, how he was great in the first half of the season and he'd get nicked up and he wasn't the same come playoffs. And the playoffs is when you really need that running game. And this is where the running back by committee has been more effective. When you have a couple of backs that you can throw in there, you're reducing the load during the season and keeping them fresher by the end of the year. And if you got a Derrick Henry that you're running about 15 times a game, and you got Tony Pollard like 10 or 12 times a game in there as a change of pace, it will make your offense that much more dynamic, take some of the pressure off your quarterback, keep you more balanced, and make you more effective. Take the Buffalo Bills, which is a good thing they got Josh Allen, because, Josh Allen is one of those great quarterbacks that don't need nobody around him. So he's going to win the Super Bowl this year now that they got the roster, because now they got all those other guys out the way. Ginger Rogers, greetings from Seattle, Washington. Mark, my mom and I enjoy your channel. Derrick Henry is a great would be great on your team. You need linebackers for sure, but not Patrick Queen. We want him. Shout out to Ginger. Ginger and her mom. Love Seattle. Love going down to the market down there. They're throwing the fish and stuff and all that. It's kind of cool. And, of course, great coffee. My feed just went back to the beginning of the live stream. Okay, I don't know why it did. I'm still here from where I started there, bro. Lola, why would you rather have Derrick Henry, or would you rather have Derrick Henry or Josh Jacobs? I think Josh Jacobs is going to cost you more. He is younger. He is. If you're asking me of the three, Josh Jacobs, Saquon, or Derrick Henry, I would probably say that Saquon would be my third choice. The thing with Saquon for me is, look at the numbers. The last 2 years, about the midpoint of the season, he has peaked and he's going downhill fast. He is not a long season. Clouds Coffee, you're drunk? Okay, just don't drive. Don't drive, okay? Please don't drive. Josh Jacobs is definitely younger. I think he's going to cost you more. But if I can get Derrick Henry and Tony Pollard, I think I'd be happier with that. Because the problem with relying on just one back, again, is if he gets hurt, you're done. You're done. Get both. It's possible. Well, here's the reality. The reality is, if the Dallas Cowboys want to do something, they can do anything that they want to do. The question is, will they want to do it? Because, for example, so Zach Martin, you ended up getting $13 million on his deal, basically with the pen, just changing the numbers around. And it not only gave you cash for this year, it also gives you the potential of another $7 million next year. So you created $20 million with just one guy. Now, the only problem with that, of course, is if it ends up being that he ends up being done in a year or two, you'll have dead money. Okay. But right now, you have the opportunity to do more. And you can do some more of this stuff. If you go ahead and get Dak Prescott's deal done, you can get yourself about 30 to 40 million more. And 30 to 40 million more could be a couple of those hired assassins. Mark, I'm also doing track this year at school. Shout out to track, man. I did indoor and outdoor track. I ran from the 400 down through shot put and discus. So, yeah, I love some track. Hit those likes. Lady Lieber says hit the likes. How many older vets misses can we take? Well, here's the thing. Here's what I will say, JBW0777, is if we don't bring in some more talent, we're not going to go that far. It's hard to compete against other teams that are loaded in more positions, okay? I get it. We didn't show up against the Green Bay Packers, which, that goes back to having dogs on the roster and being prepared. You got to look at the coaches there. And also, too, when you think about, the old term, you get your head swollen or fat. I'm really having brain farts tonight. But, when you get complimented, you get the big head and all that, right? And maybe that should be a shirt. Cowboys got big head. Big. With the Cowboys constantly talked about, it still blows my mind away. Every offseason is the same. We lose. George Zimmerman, isn't it funny that last year's running back was old-fashioned? This year's running back is the quarterback security blanket. What is your profession? My profession, I said general contractor, right? I'm a cabinet maker too. See, like cabinets and stuff here, custom woodworking and things. You know, I make dreams come true for your house. Shout out to Georgia Gentleman. You got me to lose my train of thought there, Georgia Gentleman. Boom. Shout out to you. The Cowboys get so much publicity and so much hype that sometimes I think they believe it. We go through the same cycle every year. And in free agency, we always hear about the Cowboys should sign this guy. The Cowboys should sign that guy. Oh, there's rumors about the Cowboys are interested in this, right? How many times do those actually come true? How many times do the Cowboys actually make those big moves that everybody is saying they're going to make, right? And then we hear, the Cowboys, they need a GM. They don't really care about winning. They did nothing to help themselves in free agency, right? Right? In which case we don't. We see Eagles trade, right there at the draft for A.J. Brown and so on. You see the 49ers trade for Christian McCaffrey and things and bringing in, Hargrave and trying to upgrade their talent. They're having coaches, minority coaches that are getting head coaching jobs, and they're getting third-round extra compensatory picks for 2 years. They got extra compensatory picks for this year and stuff, right? They get extra picks. They end up getting more players. And we rely on the draft, and we have a draft like last year where we got zero. And we don't use free agency. But somehow, the little old Dallas Cowboys that don't do anything to help themselves get better from the position that they were in last year, while other teams end up signing all these other players and trying to make themselves better. Help me, Rhonda. What's up, Rhonda? Somehow, by week 1 or 2, Cowboys are Super Bowl contenders. How are we a Super Bowl contender if we didn't do anything to make ourselves better? Honestly, ask yourself that one. Next week, you're going to see the Eagles out here grabbing some great players. You're going to see the Commanders out here grabbing some great players. You're going to see San Francisco grabbing some great players. And we'll be re-signing maybe Tony Pollard and Stephon Gilmore and, who knows who else. You'll see bottom tier guys. You'll see assigned guys. You'll say, who? Who? How many times have we signed somebody and we've gone crazy? Like, oh my God, we got such and such, man. Ah! Right? So how do we expect to be a Super Bowl champion if we're not doing anything to make the team better than it was last year? I don't know. So, DMV, what's up, DMV? DMV in there with E2 Blue. Shout out to them, man. Some of my kids. Lovely Linda in the house. What's up, Linda? Uh-oh, we got the Eagle fans back. Let me welcome my brethren. You know, I tell you what's funny. I'm an asshole. So I'm working up in Harrisburg on my friend's house, Allie, right? Allie, who is a diehard Eagles fan. Allie, who actually introduced me to Micah's dad. But she's still an Eagles fan. She locked her keys into the house. And I had one key from her. And she's like, oh, can you send me? I said, would you like me to make you some more keys? She said, that would be great. So I express mailed them up there. I got 2 keys cut that were Cowboy keys. And I sent them to her. I got a message from her, asshole.
Disrespected yet? Does this defense have any heart?
No, they suck. I've been telling you all season, Philly.
Shit on you. They've shit on you. Don't you hear me, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Slate? They shit on you. They've shit on you. They have shit on you. Don't you hear me, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Slate? They shit on you. Kill them.
Oh my goodness! Did he say they cock it on them?
Hate the style of defense.
Brian SoCal in the house. 49ers fans are up in here. What's up? You know, I don't see the 49er fans quite as heavy as I have been. The emails have slowed down some, although Henry went through and said, don't be surprised when you don't sign that whack-ass quarterback. Okay? I'm wrong. You know I'm wrong. It's all in fun. It's all in fun. Okay? So she had to use a Cowboys key to get back in the house. I look sad about Dak. I think I'm probably sad that football season is over and that we didn't go further. But I'm actually pretty happy in life. I've got an incredible wife. I've got a career that I love. I've got my health. I got a lot of friends. I'm not sad at all, to be quite honest. Maybe you are reflecting of yourself because you got all the way to the big dance and your coach choked it. After being labeled one of the smartest minds out there, he didn't know the tiniest little detail that cost him a Super Bowl. Maybe you're sad. 49ers took that super L. All right, so here's where you have to wonder, and we're going to find out real quick. Now, thank you for bringing up Dak, but I don't want to put it this way, but if you don't, and I know exactly what the Joneses will do. The Joneses have already set it up to be, well, you know, we were going to go all in. We were going to go out there and get ourselves some of those great free agents. But, you know, Dak Prescott, he wouldn't get that team-friendly contract. What is your profession? I was referring to Dallas Cowboy fans. I'm not in public relations, HR, nor am I advertising. Let us forget the thrill of the game because money rules all. Okay, shout out to you, Georgia gentlemen. My problem. My mistake. Shout out to you on the super chat. I got to start doing drawings again too. Next time I go home, I got to bring some stuff back. We have to be down here for a few more weeks before I actually get back. Dak is the NFC daddy. Absolutely, we do, Lola Twiz. There's only one successful team each year. The other teams are all fails. Chiefs, Mahomes, only winning team. Yeah. And they've become the most hated team right now because they keep winning. But the reality is if we don't do Dak Prescott's contract, and this is where Jerry Jones, I think, is setting it up to be that, we wanted to go all in, but, Dak had to have the big piece of the pie. That they won't go into it, or they'll use it as, we were going to, but it took longer to get that contract done. They can do other stuff with other people if they really want to. And quite frankly, if it were me and Jerry Jones, who is getting up there, and I'm not saying that he's going to go anywhere anytime soon. He said he's going to be around for a long time, and that may be the case, but we just don't know how much time we have. Knowing that right now you're in the best position cap-wise in a couple of years, that you have areas where you can get more money. There are a lot of great players out there that could help your roster. And the fact that you've been 12-5 the last 3 years, it's not a complete rebuild. We're not talking about having to get, 10 guys. You get yourself Derrick Henry. You bring back Tony Pollard. You get yourself, a lights-out linebacker. You get yourself a defensive lineman, and you go into the draft And you could really do some damage. You really could. Bottom line, Micah Parsons is your quarterback on the defense. And you need to support your defense and support that guy by getting him some other people. I missed that Mark Holmes. Rhonda, I said it. Rhonda, I know I got you. Let's see. Help me, Rhonda. I always get you. Jeff Lee, I don't know of misses or not. What's up? Twiz Digga. So, Twiz, how's everything going in Eagle Land right now? I haven't been seeing so many of Philly 500's breaking news, such great things. I know that he's excited about the possibility of Saquon, maybe, that you guys might get him. But I don't think that he's going to be everything that everybody thinks he's going to be. I think that might be one of those moves that, in hindsight 2020, that it's not going to be what you think it's going to be. That's just me in my own personal opinion. And what do I know? I'm a guy with a day job and a voodoo doll that's in a 200-year-old house, so don't listen to me. Oh, I said, okay, I'm not understanding it tonight. You can't go into free agency tampering with only $2 million either. Tell Jerry to loosen up the purse strings. But see, Rhonda, that's by design. We've done enough to get underneath the salary cap. We're going to let everybody else blow their wads, and we'll see what's left after the dust clears. And that includes their own players. And we wonder why we don't win. Now, we got Dalton Schultz, and a lot of people saying, well, he's just salty. And that's why he's throwing the Cowboys under the bus. You know what? We have heard quite a few players say the same thing. Cole Beasley said the exact same thing when he got to Buffalo. And this is a guy who said, Dak Prescott's the best quarterback I've played with, and I'd love to play with Dak again. But he also put it out there that, the focus in Dallas isn't just football. And so you have to start listening to that, because we all know, we them boys, Micah Parsons is a star. He is a star. With his podcast, with Bleacher Report, he's making extra money on that thing. Bleacher Report is getting all kinds of play with it. Who else out there? Now, there's other guys that have podcasts and things, but they ain't like this. They ain't going toe for toe with Stephen A. Smith and things. They're not interviewing the guys they just lost to in the playoff. They're not much watch TV, or excuse me, not TV, much watch streaming. And with everything that goes along with it, with all of the appearances, the autograph signings and everything else, the training camp where we're all there and, working out at the Star and having fan days and everything else, how do you really focus in on being everything that you can be as far as football goes? Derek Young, that comes from kicking the can down the road in bad contracts. See Dak Prescott's contract. Actually, Linda, Dak Prescott's contract, here's the thing about Dak Prescott's contract. Yes, it is kind of bad in some degree, but when you look at his contract versus, let's say, Carson Wentz, who you guys ended up having a $32 million deadhead, when you've seen them, people like Deshaun Watson get, $230 million fully guaranteed, who was a $62 million hit. When you see guys like Kyler Murray get a $46 million deal, at least when you can look with Dak Prescott, you can say, since he's gotten his contract, think about this. Since he's gotten his contract in 2021, they've won 12 games every single year. And he's played so well that he's in a position with the same team to hold them hostage to get paid again. Can you say that about Deshaun Watson? Can you say that about Carson Wentz? Can you say that about Kyler Murray? You look at all these guys. They got the one, that first huge contract, and then they kind of petered off. Now, I get it. We haven't had the playoff success. But you've got a guy who has been giving you performance. Can you say that about Jalen Smith's contract? Can you say that about Zeke Elliott's contract? Can you say that about shit? I really have brain farts. Michael Gallup. You won't take any dead money on Dak Prescott's contract. We've been taking dead money every year. We got Lyle Collins we were still playing last year. We got Zeke Elliott we're still playing this year. We've got this year, if we cut Michael Gallup, we'll have somewhere around $30 million in dead money. So which is the problem? Is the problem having Dak Prescott, who was $17 million, $19 million, $26 million those years, or constantly taking $20 to $30 million in dead money? We constantly overpay guys that end up being the wrong move. Paying Zeke Elliott, what we did was wrong. And this is the problem with the Cowboys. Take a look at running backs. There's a few exceptions. Barry Sanders is definitely one. Emmitt Smith is one. But for the most part, year number 4, especially nowadays running backs, and I don't know if it's because, we're all participation trophies, but year 4 is the peak of running backs. And after that, they start to go downhill. Year 4 is when we decided to go ahead and blow up and make this massive contract for Zeke Elliott. It was wrong. They actually should have considered letting him go. Because what we got out of Zeke Elliott after his contract was nowhere near what we were getting before. I know that's sacrilegious, but it's one of those things that other teams do. Other teams look at it and say, this guy's getting older and it's getting more expensive. How can I go ahead and get something for him? Let me trade him and get a draft pick that I can get and replace him with somebody younger. You follow me? Instead, what we do is we pay him because we say we can't live without this guy and we like our own guys. We overpay them and then their production ends up going off a cliff. And because we pay them, we don't have enough money to get quality people to go around them. And when you end up losing those guys, when you lose Tyron Smith and you got Igoda going in there or Chaz Green, it's a major drop-off. That's been the real problem right there, is at some point you got to look at it and say, maybe I should trade this guy and learn how to trade. Let's be clear here. You don't trade Amari Cooper for a 5th-round pick. You should have at least gotten a 2nd round for him to end up replacing some of the talent. Oh, that's another one. We took $13 million in dead money for him. You can't do those things and say, well, the quarterback, he's sucking up all the money. Yeah, he is taking a good share, but you ain't exactly been good with the money. Dak's a great regular season quarterback, good enough for 12 wins, but can't overcome obstacles to put his team on his back. Twiz, your team, let me say this, with Jalen Hurts, do you feel like Jalen Hurts elevates the team and overcomes? Seriously. I know he went to the Super Bowl, but I don't know that you honestly look and say that it was just Jalen Hurts. I know that Micah Parsons got a lot of flack when he said it was the team around him as much as it was Jalen Hurts. You have to look at that situation and say, had they not put the people around him, had they not went out and gotten A.J. Brown, if he did not have the great offensive line and things, you weren't going to the Super Bowl. You did exactly what you're supposed to do. Support your guy. Get talent around him. Elevate him so that way all the pressure is not on him. Great running game. Best friend of the quarterback. Great offensive line. Gives you more time. Now, he had a great offensive line this year, had a really good running game, but it seemed like he kind of regressed. Seemed like he panicked at the first read. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think you're screwed with Kellen Moore. I'll choose Dak. Eastside, you may be right about him. And Eastside, let's see how year number 2 goes. Let's see how CJ does year number 2 when defensive coordinators got a book out on him and you got the first place schedule. Okay? So slow your roll a little bit because you're probably going to step back a little bit, Eastside. Show negotiating players through the meeting. Oh, and Mike, that's the worst thing right there. See, again, this, if there's anything that bothers me more, it is constantly doing what you do to your players. You turn the players into the villains. They get vilified, right? You know, we're going to go through and basically say, oh, well, he's not worth this money. You know, oh, man, well, you know, he's, you know, we'll get it done. We don't have to get it done and this, that, and the other. You don't show them any love. And I think this is part of the reason why the players are kind of like, you know what? Why should I try and take a team-friendly deal? They just said I'm not worth it. I'm going to show them I want every nickel I can get. Show me the damn money. I would rather the Cowboys just do these deals and, you know, we wake up and they say, we got it done. Here's Dak Prescott's deal. Here's CeeDee Lamb's deal. Stop this trashing your own people, man. Parsons can't say a word. He's a choker like Dak in the big game. Daryl, I still look at, you can call him a choker if you want to. I still look at it and say, you don't have enough. Not in comparison to what we used to do. Pat Mahomes has been doing us favors in the Super Bowl. Pat Mahomes is, I tell you what, Dak Prescott actually had a better season statistically than Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes' defense, they shut down Baltimore. They took the ball away 3 times from Lamar Jackson, your MVP. They ended up going toe for toe with San Francisco with that great offense. Listen, let's be clear here. I joke about the 49ers. 49ers they were a great team. The Eagles last year, they were loaded on both sides of the ball in almost every position and should have won except for that fumble. Kansas City is a complete team with a mastermind for a coach and a defense that can play lights out. And that's why they won the Super Bowl this year. It was not just Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes makes the plays when he needs to, but Pacheco being able to run the ball the way he did and that defense that are shutting people down, Kansas City was in one of those positions that the Cowboys usually don't come back from. They were down 10-0. Pat Mahomes throws an interception, almost in his own red zone. But his defense holds, and they make a comeback and win. If that's us, defense ain't holding. We're down 17-0, and now the route is on. That's only matter if you're consistent. Don't care about 40 burgers in a blowout. Parsons was done by the playoffs. Big mouth, but needs to work on fitness. Well, here's Glimmerman. Part of the problem is this. He's undersized to be a defensive end. He's about 245, 250 going against guys like Trent Williams every single week. And because he is the guy, he's getting double and triple teamed. This is where having somebody else on the other side and having that defensive line where other guys sometimes are going to be requiring a double team or other guys are going to feast because he's being tied up by 2 guys. That's where you can look at Lawrence Taylor. Lawrence Taylor isn't as effective as he was without guys like Carl Banks. and they had a loaded defense. It wasn't just Lawrence Taylor. We keep getting in our mind that one player is all you need, and if the team loses, it's that one player's fault because he choked. The reality is the whole team choked, man. The whole team. You have to get more horses in the fight. Charles Haley wasn't the only great player on the Dallas Cowboys defense. He wasn't. Troy Aikman wasn't the only great player on that offense. Troy Aikman, without Emmitt Smith and that offensive line, is not winning Super Bowls. Flat out. Flat out. Eagles have a history of playing the quarterback. Do you think Quinn pushed Parsons too hard all year? I don't know if he pushed him too hard. I don't think you can push a player too hard. I think here's the problem. Okay, I want you to understand this. Okay, let me see if I can explain this as best I can. I know everybody just thinks, well, you're just covering up for it. You're just making excuses. Well, you have to find out the reasons why you lose. You got to dissect the problem. Take a look at the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys, they have a type of defensive player that they like. They like guys that are tall, lean, and fast. Dan Quinn's philosophy, we're going to be fast and we're going to be physical. Okay? They go out. They draft a Mozzie Smith that's 337 pounds, and they get him to lose 40 pounds. You look at a guy like O.C. Indigizua. He is about 285. You look at Micah Parsons, who's about 245, 250. You look at a guy like D-Law, who's only like 265, 270. You look at Sam Williams. He's 6'4", about 260. You look at everybody across the board. The only guys that you have that are 300-pounders, Hankins, okay, who's about 320, and Mozzie before he lost his weight. And they're fast, and they are guys that can get to the quarterback, which is great. You want that speed to be able to get to the quarterback. And when we're playing teams that don't have good offensive lines, or we have teams where, you know, the Cowboys get out to a lead and teams have to pass, you have the advantage to them. The problem is every time we played a team that had a big offensive line that could run the football, we had problems. It wasn't Josh Allen that beat us. It was their running game. Josh Allen only threw the ball 14 times. The problem is if I have a 285-pound defensive lineman or a 250-pound defensive end, and I'm running right at them with guys that are 320, 340, when you're giving up 50 pounds to an offensive line that's going to be dry blocking against you, and your safety is now converted into a linebacker who's only 207 pounds. You are literally giving up several hundred pounds to the offense that has the advantage of knowing when the ball is going to be snapped. They can just bulldoze you over. And that is a philosophy difference, or a lack of being able to get all the players that you need to fill the bill. You've got to have some big, mean, nasty motherfuckers in the middle. Excuse my language. You've got to have linebackers that can play downhill. Marquez Bell, he's great safety. He filled in well, but he's not an every down linebacker. You really didn't have a linebacker on the roster since Micah Parsons is playing defensive end. You just didn't. Damone Clark, and we got to stop drafting guys with an injury history too. That's another one of those things. Stop getting guys that have been broken up in college. For some reason, we think that they won't be broken up in the NFL. Overshown literally had his back fused during the summer before his rookie year. Van Der Esch had neck issues. Sean Lee had knee problems before they got to the NFL. The D-back we moved up for had wrist problems coming out. We ended up taking a second and a first and moving up to get that guy. Those are the problems with the Cowboys that we have to do something different about. Stop looking for a discounted player and feel like you're getting a bargain. And stop going through and getting the cheapest free agents and thinking that they're going to be able to do a job. You've done great getting as far as you have with the lack of talent. And when you talk about the Eagles spending $33 million on average every year more than you, and the fact that you're still able to beat them is actually a testament to some of the good things that you've done. But maybe if you spent that $30 million and got yourself 3 free agents, maybe you're doing laps around those guys. We won those Super Bowls in the past by going out and getting a Charles Haley, by going out and getting a Deion Sanders, by going out and signing a Jay Novacek as a free agent, by signing a Ray Donaldson for the offensive line, by bringing in a Nate Newton, by making trades to get more draft picks and more players in here. You can't expect to say, we're just going to draft and believe in our own guys and think that we're going to win it all. We're just not. And you guys can get mad at the quarterback all you want. You got a quarterback that's good enough to win. But the reality is you have got to surround him with more talent. You got to have a running game. You just do. And if you don't think you do, then you don't know football. You got to have linebackers that can stop the run. And you've got to be able to stop the run. And that goes back to Jerry Jones and how we build this roster and opening up the purse strings and taking some damn risk. And I'm going to end this tonight. Let me say shout out to everybody in here. And again, everybody, make sure that you give your thoughts to Gina Dallastiva, who just lost her father last night. And make sure that you let the people you love know how much you love them, because you might not get the chance again. And I love you guys. But just listen to the man. I'm going to end with Jimmy Johnson tonight. And I appreciate you guys. And I'm thinking about, I don't know why. It's not like we're other teams. But I'm thinking about starting out Monday morning and live streaming all day Free Agent Frenzy. And I thought about saying, I'm going to live stream until the Cowboys sign somebody. But I don't know how long I don't even know how long you can live stream directly. It might be the longest live stream in the history of YouTube if I wait until the Cowboys sign somebody. So we'll see. I guess I could just sleep here in the chair, because Lord knows this chair is the bomb. I mean, I could literally just... Yeah. We'll be live streaming on Monday. But again, Jimmy Johnson, take it away.
You're up, and then James Harris.
Jimmy Johnson, let me first say congratulations on getting into the Hall of Fame. Watching that live on television, that raw emotion was just beautiful. I have so many questions for you. I think about the only way I could get them in is to get a cooler of beer and head out and go fishing with you.
Right, Mark.
But leaving the University of Miami and coming to the Dallas Cowboys, and at that time they were basically broke, busted, and thoroughly disgusting to watch. Having gone from the pinnacle down to the depths, what was that like? And the second part of this question would be, played football at JMU with Charles Haley, and knowing the character that he is and all the personalities that you had with the Cowboys, how were you able to mold them and keep them focused on the grand prize, which was winning?
Well, first of all, people look back on it and they say it was an easy decision to leave University of Miami. But we had gone through 4 straight seasons where we played a national schedule and been on national television every other week and only lost 2 regular season games. And so we had a powerhouse football team, and I knew it was going to continue that way because we had a great, group of talent. And then going to Dallas, Tom Landry is one of the greatest coaches of all time. Mm-hmm. But they had 3 straight losing seasons there at the bottom of the NFL at 3-13 because they just didn't have any talent. And, and obviously there were some older players that helped us, in winning our Super Bowls. But a lot of it had to do with, I brought in Tony Wise, my offensive line coach, and he put together what is considered one of the greatest offensive lines in NFL history. But he did it with a free agent defensive tackle, Mark Tuinei, at left tackle. He did it with a left guard where the previous staff said get rid of him because he was too fat, Nate Newton. We took a third-round pick, 245-pound offensive guard. I asked Tony, I said, can you convert him to a center? He said, I'll make him into a center. So we moved Stepnoski to center. And then we took a seventh-round pick, Kevin Gogan, who had struggled his early years. We moved him to guard and took a third-round pick, Eric Williams, at right tackle. So, those players hadn't developed, but Tony Wise was able to develop them into a great offensive line. And so, the combination of having some great assistant coaches and acquiring a lot of talent with 51 trades in 5 years, we were able to win that Super Bowl. So it was a great feeling.
Thank you very much on that.
I'll follow up about Charles Haley.
Yes, he was a character.
He was a character, but he is one of my favorites. Charles and I developed a great relationship after a few rocky roads there early in his career at Dallas. We had a couple of run-ins, but we really got together. Really, he came into my office after I had berated him a couple of times at one of the ball games. And he said, Coach, he said, if you will just get on to me one-on-one in your office, he said, I'll do anything in the world for you. I love playing for you. He said, but just don't embarrass me in front of the other players. And I said, Charles, I may not always be able to do that, but I'll try. But from that time forward, we had a great relationship, and he was a big part of us winning Super Bowls.
Thank you very much. And how about them Cowboys?